Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new episode of The Shy. Ooh, child. Honey, it was so much stuff going on all up and through. Okay? The episode was good, but y'all, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. If you are new here, then welcome. If you are back for a second, third, fourth, fifth time, then thank you for keep coming back. I really appreciate you. Without y'all, there is no opinionated channel. So, child, let's move forward. Okay, so when the episode first opens up, we see Douda. He comes through wearing the hell out of that suit, per usual. And he's going to check on things, how things are going for the event, like they're having this little gala or whatever. And so Jemma's dad is like explaining the importance of hosting this event because of the Olympics. And, you know, African Americans have never been able to host it before and all this kind of stuff, right? So then Tracy starts asking Douda about, does he know anything about the trap house? You know, because the girl Trinity got killed there, right? And if he knows something about it. He's like, nah, I don't know nothing about it. She was like, well, I bet you know who does. He said, listen, I never said I was a saint. He said, you can either deal with it or get the hell on. Well, he didn't say get the hell on, honey. He said something else, but y'all know I try to keep it a little bit clean over here. But damn, is that how you gonna treat her? Oh, child. See, that's what I'm saying, honey. Let me tell you something. I'm noticing. Because, you know, I've actually encountered a man from the Shy before. And, baby, they rough with those words, honey. I don't know if this is just how they talk to females down there or what's happening. So somebody from the Shy, please comment down below and tell me, are the men just this crass all the time? Child, I mean, I guess I'm used to Southern gentlemen that really are for the streets, but my God, honey, you ain't have to do Po Tracy like that. And Tracy, what is this little bob? Girl, I don't like it. It's looking very quick weavish, okay? And it's also making you look so much older. You look like an old woman just hunched all over with this little bob moving to and fro. Honey, I don't like it. But anyway, so over at Kevin's house, okay, he texting this old woke heifer that's creeping with his best friend about his tux, right? So he's like, you know, I got my tux. And she's like, cool. He's like, you want to see a picture of it? Nah, I'm good. So the whole time she's giving him like one word answers. And we see her standing outside and dressed like she's going to Easter Sunday service. I was like, girl, what are you wearing, honey? With this little matching hat and coat and whatnot. But anyway, you know, she giving little one word answers, right? So he like, you want to see it? She's like, nah. So then, you know, he's trying to start up a conversation, but she just hitting him with one word answers. And I'm sure he can tell something isn't right, right? Because, you know, whenever people switch something up, something ain't right, okay? And us women, we always have that intuition. When they start changing the way they behave, start acting brand new, honey, don't want to come home, don't want to talk, don't want to socialize, ain't picking up the phone, we know something is afoot, okay? So she texting funny style, right? So he decided he gonna call her. Hello. I'm like, girl, anyway. So he was like, you want me to come keep you company? She was like, nah, you know, I really don't feel like my dad knocking on the door every 5 minutes. Baby, your daddy don't care nothing about you, honey. He saw Kev come right on out your window in the morning, okay, as if y'all are married and live together. He slept with you overnight. He crawled out the window, came right on inside and said good morning and sat down and ate his pancakes. So your daddy is not going to care that he is in there smashing your clappers to smithereens, honey. He ain't going to care because we've already seen it, okay? So anyway, she gets off the phone with him and then it's, oh, it's Mr. Steal Your Girl. Child, she walks up to Jake. I said, this old ashy mouth boy here. So she walks up to him and just starts talking to him. I'm like, okay, they finna piss me off. They finna piss me off, okay? Over in the next scene, we see Jada and Dre, and they're talking about what will happen, you know, if she passes, right? I think they're sitting in Emmett's restaurant, if I'm not mistaken. So she's speaking all these death wishes over herself. Let me tell you something. You have to speak your life into existence. I'm a very firm believer of that. I don't even let people speak a cold over me. If I sneeze, honey, say God bless you and keep on moving. Don't come to my, you might be coming down. I ain't coming down with nothing. Okay, I'm not coming down with a thing. I'm a very firm believer that what you speak out of your mouth will come to pass. But you really do have to speak what you believe over your life. And she's up here speaking like, you know, well, when I die. And I know if you get, I'm not naive enough to think if you get news that you have cancer, that's not the first thing that will cross your mind. Like if, you know, if I die or if this happens to me. But at a time like that, I feel like if I were in that position, I don't know because I'm never going to be in that position. I'm speaking it right now. But if I were in that position, I would want to speak life over my body, over my situation, because you just don't want to be too doom and gloom, right? So she's talking to Dre about her will or whatever. And Dre is like, don't say that kind of stuff. Words have power. They really do. And she wants Dre to carry out the wishes of her will. And she was like, well, shouldn't Emmett be doing that? And she said, have you met Emmett? This is the thing that gets on my nerves about Jada. You raised him. So if you raised a sorry ninja, then he's a sorry ninja. But at the same time, you got to give the boy a little bit of credit. Like at some point, you're going to have to equip him to be without you. So I remember a few seasons past, she put him on out on the streets and he went and made this makeshift apartment in somebody's basement or something like that. Y'all remember that? When Tiff dropped the baby off and was like, this baby yours, honey, I'm gone. But, Jada was like, you can't stay with me. That's how she ended up in the new apartment. But at the same time, like you have to help, you have to know that he's a grown man now and treat him as such. Because, after a certain point, honey, just saying he's not going to be able to handle it. He's the only child. Okay, you're the only person that he's ever known. So, child, please. So, Emmett comes over with this fruit. I think it was fruit. And starts telling his mom she needs to eat healthier. Because he was like, I heard eating healthier help you live longer or whatever. First of all, that's been known since the beginning of time, okay? We know that to eat healthy is the right thing to do. Emmett, you are a nut, honey. So anyway, he's like, I want to come over and cook for you. She was like, for what? Why? I'm like, dang. Girl, that would tick me off if my parent acted like they didn't want to be bothered with me. Child, but I'm just saying, child. We all know Emmett's a mama's boy. So, child, let him come over there and make you some jackfruit ribs made out of vegan stuff and put his little sauce on it that he used over at Smokey's. And girl, eat something healthy, honey, and spend some time with your son. Time is of the essence. Instead of sitting around talking to Dre about how you don't want her to tell Nina, which is the wrong thing to do. So Dre said, look, I'll carry out your will or whatever, but I'm gonna need to tell my wife what's going on so she don't think I'm sneaking around with one of those girls on Instagram. So she was like, yeah, I just don't want people feeling bad for me. I don't want them pitying me. Just let's hold on for a little while longer. No. Okay. And it's too late because Jada already planted the seed by sending that vague text message she sent and Nina saw it when you was all laid out. Child, that's just crazy. Listen, I would have to tell my spouse because quiet as it's kept, I understand that you don't want to disclose it to everybody, but it's already out with Emmett. So, as much as I love my friend, I wouldn't want to destroy the trust in my marriage to keep this secret. And I really feel like she's not going to even say anything if you tell her. This just doesn't make sense to me. Now, maybe I'm by myself, but it just doesn't make sense. Across town, Jake is telling Jemma she needs to tell Kevin, right? Because that's his bro. Oh, really? Oh, is it now? Okay, because from what I'm seeing, honey, I wouldn't want to be related to you friendship-wise either. What kind of bro is that? You couldn't find nobody else in Chicago. You had to go get her of all people. And her Kevin, little old Kevin don't bother nobody. Okay? He been going through stuff. Nobody's asked him how he feels about anything. Of course, Nina is trying to get him in therapy so he can talk through some of his issues. But Jake, you know better than that. Okay, and I'm like, okay, now we know there's never really been anybody interested in Jake. Okay, let's just call a spade, okay? Even Papa got him somebody. But at the same time, why would you go and get Jemma? Child, this don't make no sense to me, honey. It's supposed to be bros before. Y'all know what I'm about to say? Bros before. Fill in the blank, child. So he said, how you gonna say you a revolutionary but can't tell your man the truth? She was like, that's totally different. Okay, girl, well, you still need to tell him, Shirley Chisholm. You need to tell him. He said, look, either you tell him or I will. She was like, you ain't gonna tell him ish. Child. Jake walked right on away from her. Jake ain't Kevin. You ain't about to punk him and then he gonna come back and text you 2 or 3 minutes later. He don't operate like that. So either you gonna have to tell him or, your spot about to be blown up. And just for anybody in real life, everything you do in the dark shall come to the light, okay? In case you want to be getting yourself involved in some entanglements. Over at the other side, Dre gets home and, Nina is getting that dark and dreary house ready for Keisha's delivery, right? So Dre comes in and, she acting a little funny style because she's trying to keep this secret for Jada. And, but she did ask Nina if she's trying to throw off her scent. So she's like, I'm about to take a shower. I've been at the gym. And Nina was like, the gym? well, why didn't you tell me? I thought we said we was going to work out together. She was like, oh, my bad. You want to take a shower together? And Nina was like, sure. I'm like, girl, okay. Y'all gone on, wash up. Over at Trig's house, Shad is ironing his clothes. He's getting ready for this interview, right? So Amani is kind of like making small talk with him about the interview process and all that. But Shad is treating her like she's some type of alien, okay? Because, he already found out that she's transgender, right? So he's like, yeah, I'm all done. She was like, oh, wait a minute, not without a tie. So he was like, nah, I'm good. I don't know how to tie no tie. So she offered to help him, right? So when she goes over there to try to help him, he was like, look, watch out. I'm like, okay, see, this is about to be a problem. Something bad is going to happen with him and Imani. I hope he does not commit a hate crime, because the way that they're setting this up, the shot can be a little bit predictable. Like, if you just sit here and think, then you already know what's going to happen, because I already had predicted that Dre and Jada were going to get accused of cheating with each other because she don't want to tell Nina what's happening. And with this whole situation with Imani, Trig, and Shad, I feel like Shad is going to do something crazy. But let us pray that he doesn't. So Dre and Nina get out the shower and she starts texting on her phone, right? Nina was like, who you talking to? She was like, oh, just somebody from work. Nina's suspicious, honey. Baby, because Dre acting funny, texting, not giving her whereabouts. Child, it's going to be a mess. Over on the other side, Amani tells Trig, look, Shaw got to go. And he's caught on to me. So clearly it's a problem. So he needs to go. Here go Trig. Yeah, I'm going to handle that. She was like, yeah, the same way you handle Trinity, the same way you handle the trap house, the same way you handle this community police officer stuff you got going on. And he was like, I said I'm going to handle it. Well, we all know, Trig, you always a day late and $1 short. So please get it handled right away. Okay? You move too slow. It takes you forever to handle a situation. Over at Keisha's house, she's looking at her baby book, right? She getting a little sad because she knows that she won't have a baby book for her own baby. Maybe in the future, but for right now. And every time I see a scene with Keisha thinking about this baby or talking about this baby, is it just me, or do y'all feel like Keisha does not want to give this baby to Octavia? And if she does, she's going to want to be very involved. Like, I'm about to spend a night, okay, involved. Because she is really attached to this baby. So that's what it makes me think about every time I see them together. So, her mom is telling her, eventually you'll have that, but she is truly struggling with her decision. Emmett is over at his mom's apartment, right? And the dude is making some pancakes or whatever. So he's like, I'm not about to eat nothing you making. And he's upset that she told the dude that she had cancer before she actually told him, which is, I think his name is Sway or Swade, honey. Every time they say it, I don't know if they're saying Sway or if they're saying Swade. So we just going to call him Sway, okay? So anyway, he was mad because she told him first. He's like, that's my spouse. He's like, I'm your son. I'm like, I know that's right. First of all, this dude just came in massaging your whatnots and whatever and giving you happy endings, and now all of a sudden you're going to tell him something before you tell your own son? Girl, goodbye, honey. Jada mine is bad, honey. It's all the way bad. So Emmett starts telling her, he's having a really intimate moment with her, and he said, listen, I cannot lose you. And he brought her a juicer because he read that it helps. And let me tell y'all this. Truth be told, she really does not need to be eating those pancakes and that syrup because sugar helps cancer grow. So she really does need to be, if this were real life, she really should be doing more plant-based things because it'll really help her, right? And she said the doctor said they caught it early. So, she feels like that everything's going to be good, right? And I'm like, okay. And I really do hope that they write this so that her cancer goes into remission, because I can't deal with another funeral. I can't deal with another funeral, and I don't want to see this boy fall apart, and he ain't got nobody else besides Darnell and his Bluetooth. So I'm just really hoping that they write this into remission. Don't you wish real life was like that? That you could just write away your troubles or write away your diseases? Child, wouldn't that be something, honey? That's just a side note. But anyway, she said the doctor said her chances are good, right? He said, forget those doctors. We need to talk to Jesus. I'm like, I know that's right. And then he said, do you want to pray? Because praying never hurt nobody, honey. And I am here for it. I am here for it. And that's just my opinion. So she said, since when you start praying? He said, oh, every time me and Tiff have sex, I pray she don't get pregnant. Why he can't be serious for 2 seconds? Boy, this is a serious moment. Child, he play all day. Anyway, he said he wants her around to see his accomplishments and everything. He's like, Mama, look, I really want you around to see my accomplishments. I want to make you proud because he is just starting to get his life on a straight path, and he's, his marriage is a little bit touch and go. But as far as his business and him trying to be successful, he's really trying to do the right thing, and he wants her to be there to reap the benefits. He's like, I still got to buy you a house. And let me tell y'all something. That is one of my biggest fears, that my parents will not be around to see my successes or for me to now take care of them. But, I always speak into existence that they're going to be here getting on my nerves for years to come. They're going to see my son graduate from high school, from college, have his own babies, and it's going to be all good, honey, because I speak life into me all day long. So Keisha at the store, feeling away, about the new guy that's working there. And then we move back on over to Shad, and he shows up at his interview, right? So the interviewer seems to know some of his family, and they're kind of like chopping it up a little bit before he gives him his resume. So then he's like, look, I know I haven't worked anywhere except Radio Shack since from '02. Not Radio Shack. Do they even make Radio Shack? Radio Shack was around in 2002. Child, I'm gonna have to Google that, because honey, I forgot all about Radio Shack. Baby, that's a fool. So then he starts telling him, look, I got locked up, but I'm trying to get my life back on track. He's like, okay, well, I don't make the final decision, but I'll get it over to the boss. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. You don't make the final decision. You immediately counted him out as soon as you saw his resume and heard about his past. I ain't buying it, honey. You ain't fooling me. Child, talking about I'm gonna have to get it over to my other boss. Well, then why are you interviewing him? Why was it not a group interview? I know this is not a 3-part interview. You know how sometimes you go to interviews and they have you have an interview before the interview before the interview? Child, if y'all don't just call me and tell me how much I'm getting paid, child, and I'll see y'all on Monday. Anyway, as I was watching this scene, I was just thinking, it's so hard to get back into society after being locked up, because there's a stigma and so much attached to you now, and it's hard to just get back out there into the workforce. And I think they have like programs that'll help you implement yourself back into society, but I'm not sure. Keisha and the new guy are taking a break, right? And he seems pretty nice, and they're kind of like talking, and she's smiling a little bit. Honey, let me find out Keisha about to get a new boo. Okay. At Jada's house, she is getting really sick from this chemo, and so Sway is there helping her get through it. And then he finally tells her he loves her, right? So she was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Well, honey, she wasn't expecting it, but she showed and said back. I peeped that. Moving forward, we see the boys getting ready for the event, trying to impress the same girl. Honey, shout out to Usher. Child, they getting all suited and booted to go out here and impress Emma and her fro. Emma, you did look cute at the gala and whatnot, but you for the streets, okay? And I don't like the way you treating Kevin all up and through. Granted, he wasn't ready to put on his beret and be a Black Panther and go out there and fight the power. But sometimes, honey, you got to teach him how to do the right thing, okay? Don't just write him off. But anyway, they getting all ready to go to the gala and everything. So they get to the gala, and Jake runs right on up to Kevin. And I'm like, don't be coming up to Kevin. Y'all ain't cool. Like, it's all good. It's always a snake in the mist, okay? That's why we need Papa. Because Papa would have talked some sense into Jake, and he would have never went over there with Jemma. Because Papa know how to act, okay? So Douda walks up, and he starts telling them to basically make him look good. And he's making these little jokes, and then he walks away, right? When he leaves, Jake and Jemma walk one way, and Kevin walks the other way. I'm like, Kevin, if you don't start going with them, stop letting him just go all willy-nilly with your girl. That didn't make no sense to me. That wasn't realistic, because if we all friends, why are you two traveling in packs and I'm over here solo dolo? No, we gonna go together. That's what's gonna happen in here today. So back at the thrift store, yes, I said store, okay? Keisha is in there with a store full of people, and she's trying to work through these contractions, but they keep happening, right? And I'm like, oh, Keisha finna get ready to have this baby, because they will come in like every few minutes. So I knew she was finna get ready to give birth to the baby. Kevin over there looking lost, okay, while Jake and Jemma over there together. So Jake walks off and goes to talk to this other pretty girl, right? And while he walks off going that direction, Kevin is over there with Jemma. Jemma looking at him like he cheating on her. I said, she not even paying attention to Kevin. So Kevin is like, you want a drink? She's like, nah, I'm good. And then walks off. Kevin, you being too soft, honey. You better pull it to the side and see what it is, honey. Don't let her treat you like that. That should have been your cue to say, look, is something going on with you and Jake I need to know about? And then we could just put it all out there. But the fact that you keep letting them walk off and walk all over you, then this happens. Jemma goes up to Jake asking, yeah, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me jealous. He was like, is it working? And she was like, you know it is. Baby, y'all too bold for me. Moving forward. Over at Keisha's house, she's having contractions and they're preparing for her at-home water birth, right? Honey, I couldn't do it. I needed all the drugs. My pain tolerance is a 0. And I walked in backwards because I wanted them to hurry up and put their epidural in so I can go sit down somewhere. Honey, I just couldn't do it. But let me tell y'all something. Her birth scene was so beautiful. When I say it was so beautiful, she was surrounded by love. The baby was coming into the world through the water. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. It was dark as hell in there, but I loved it. Okay. So the whole time, Octavia, who is Tabitha Brown's character, she's in there reading off this list of what they want for her birth. Child, please, not now, honey. She's in pain. Let me tell y'all something. My nerves would kind of be like Nina's was during this part because everybody just sit quiet, honey. It's too much going on. So over back at the gala, there's a performance and Douda and his business partner, Rosalind, okay, because she showed on Act Like His Wife. They're talking on the dance floor and she's, stating her demands to him. And he's like, girl, anyway, girl gone, basically. But he said in a rougher way, okay? But he ain't for it. So she said either I get job security or I'm serving you divorce papers. And we know that wouldn't look good for you right now. He was like, are you threatening me? She was like, well, of course. And we know that Rosalind is about that action, okay? I don't know what it is about the women in Douda's life, but baby, they got something against him. Y'all remember that mama? When she came in was it season 3 or was it was season 3? When she came in, honey, it's something about them women in his life. So Keisha mom's over there freaking out because her baby is in pain, but she's in active labor now, surrounded by everyone. So it's time. I'm like, oh my gosh, the baby's coming. So Trig and Shad out there shooting pool, okay, because he was upset that the man didn't want to hire him. So they went to have a drink, right? Because he was like, you know what? Let's just have a strong drink because I'm pissed, okay? But F this job. So they go out there shooting pool, having drinks, and Shaw's talking about how he served time for Trig or whatever. And Trig was like, bro, I was a lookout. I ain't have nothing to do with that. He was like, but I still could have told on you. And Trig was like, oh, okay, touche, honey, touche. So Trig, ends up telling him, look, you got to move out. Because you can't be disrespecting Amani. Like you beefing with her in her house. And he said, what? He said, yeah, now she's the lady of the house. He said, she ain't no lady. Are you gay? Child, oh my gosh. Trig said, listen, I want you out by this weekend. Shaw said, oh, so you giving me a time limit? So you and that thing over there putting me out? She mean more to you than me? He said, yeah, she does. Let me tell y'all something, baby. The look in his eyes. Honey, he looked like he was ready to go back. I don't know how all this going to play out, but it's looking like it ain't going to play out how it's supposed to play out. I'm just saying. Tracy is giving a speech in that Bob over at the gala about Chicago's youth and the Olympics and all of that. And while she's giving her speech, Jake gets up, right? While she's speaking her speech, Jake gets up. Jemma goes and follows behind him, right? They just don't care no more, honey. They just getting up, leaving. And I was trying to figure out, Kev, why are you not sitting with Jemma? Like, are y'all together? Are y'all not together? Like, why are you not over there where she is? But anyway, I guess they have like the assigned tables or whatever, because you know how they do at those galas. So Kevin notices that they are both gone. So he gets up and he starts looking for him, right? Child, when I tell y'all my heart was beating so fast, I'm like, oh my gosh. Even though I know the outcome, I'm just like, ooh, he about to see them together. So Jake and Jemma outside fussing. And he's like, I don't belong here. And, you look better with Kevin. And why won't you take me to your daddy when I'm not going to look good on his arm? She's like, no, it's complicated. Girl, please, honey. So he's like, Kevin looks better with you. She's like, Kevin approached me and you didn't. If I remember correctly, you pressed up on Kevin. Now, I don't know if my memory is a little foggy or what happened, but I feel like you pressed up on Kevin. And quiet as it's kept, you didn't like Jake until you realized that y'all were aligned as far as your beliefs are concerned when it comes to us black folk. Okay? And after he got beat up by the police, then all of a sudden, you wanted to have something to do with poor little Jake. I don't feel like it's really a real connection. Now, I know y'all in high school and whatnot, but Girl, don't be hurting Kevin like that. He don't deserve that. So anyway, Jake was like, well, I don't chase bitches. I'm like, honey. And this how he talked to you? That's what you think makes sense? Okay, girl. She said, don't talk to me like that. He said, that's how I talk. Honey, instead of him changing his speech to be respectful of a lady, honey, he said, that's just how I talk, honey. Take it or leave it. She's like, you want to get out of here? Oh, my goodness. Girl, go on, honey. You and him, go ahead on. So she about to go back to that house, child, where they can be alone. Because you know that daddy ain't there because he's at the gala. And where is your mama? That's just what I always think about. Like, does she have a mama or no? It's time for Douda to go up and give his speech, right? So while Kevin's still wandering the halls trying to find JJ, I just gave them a nickname, honey, Jake and Jemma. So while he's trying to find JJ, he going down all these halls, opening these doors, and in the stairway, y'all, he see them kissing. Oh my God, my heart just sank for him. So Jemma tries to turn to him, but Jake gonna grab her arm. I'm like, Jake, you got your nerve. You the one should be running after your friend that's been your friend since elementary school. You should be the one running after him. I'm like, baby, this right here is some foolery. Kevin was so hurt. Man, that's some betrayal right there. And let me tell you something. That first heartbreak, and it was his friend too, that can change the entire course of how you deal with relationships. Baby, that's some old low down dirt, baby. That's some low down dirty stuff right there. Anyway, Kevin didn't deserve that. He definitely gonna turn to the bottle now, honey, because y'all gonna drive him to drink after this. So we see him running and crying, and then he just stops, right? So I guess since it's out, now Jake and Jim are just walking on down the hall, hand in hand. Baby, they real brave and bold now. I'm like, baby, this is something else. After Douda gives his speech, we see Tracy and Amani. They kind of chopping it up a little bit, and she asks why she didn't mention the trap house. Of course she didn't mention it because she don't care nothing about it. So Douda walks up and tells Tracy he about to have a drink and meet him on the roof, right? She's like, oh, okay, I'll join you after I shake some hands. And I was thinking, are you running for mayor? Like, what are you shaking hands about? Girl, okay. So Jemma's dad saw Douda, and he goes up to him. He's like, yeah, you need to be careful. He said, I'm grown. He said, yeah, and you're also the mayor. He said, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. He said, I don't owe you nothing. Listen, it might be him that shot Douda. Who y'all think shot Douda? Okay, I got my theories, and I'm going to give it to y'all in just a few minutes, but I don't know now, honey. And I think it would be a twist if Jemma's daddy and Rosalind were actually messing around, because he's always team Rosalind, and we know how Rosalind feel about Douda, and then Tracy and Douda messing around, child, it's just a mess. So over at Emmett house, he's sitting there just staring off into space, and Darnell and his permanent Bluetooth walk in, right? So Emmett was like, I spent some time with my mom today. So Darnell, not knowing what's going on, you know, he making all the jokes he always makes. So he like, did she ask about me? He said, man, no, she ain't ask about you. So then he gets mad because, you know, it's misplaced anger. He runs upstairs and locks himself in the bathroom. So Darnell follows him up there. He like beating on the wall, like, come out of there, dude. Like, what is going on? Whenever you come out, I'm going to be here. So then Emmett comes out, and then he said, she's sick, man. She's sick. And he like falls into his arms, right? But this is my thing. When he fell into his arms, Darnell was acting like he didn't know how to hug. I'm like, Darnell, now's the time for you to embrace him. Child, this is a mess. But I'm glad he did have Darnell to talk to. And where was Tiff? Show one with that baby. Honey, probably was over there spending the night with Dante. Okay? And where was Maisha? Where was Papa? Where are the main characters? Because I ain't finna have too much of Jemma and her Florida Evans fro and Jake and his ashy lips doing Kevin all wrong. Okay? At the house, we see Keisha is almost to the finish line. She's pushing. We see everybody encouraging her. One more push and the baby is here. Oh, Lord, y'all, I got baby fever, honey. Moving forward. Up on the rooftop, we see Douda. And then he turns around and then he gets shot. And that was the end of the episode. But listen, the way that they shot him, I'm assuming he's going to make it because they only shot him once. They shot him in the hip. You know, he's laying there. But I think if Tracy gets up there in time, then he'll be fine. But I'm not sure who it was because I see in the previews that Rosalind is like standing over him and she's screaming. So my theories are these. I think it could have been Rosalind or one of her, people that she sent to off him because he's acting like he ain't got no sense. It could be Jemma's dad. It could be a police, or it could be Tracy for what happened to her son. Honey, that could be her plan all along. You just never know, honey. Everybody's a suspect. And child, then that was the end. Honey, y'all tell me down in the comments, what did you think about this episode? Who do you think shot Douda? I hope they don't drag this out forever. Honey, like who shot Ghost? Child, I just need to know. I just need to know who shot him so we can move this along. But the preview for the rest of the season seems like it's picking up. And hopefully they turn some lights on. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Share it with a friend. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.